Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell and I work as an exercise physiologist. I'm owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs. I've been in business for the past 28 years. The purpose of this podcast is to talk about the real deal. What really works? What's just a crap load of crap? I try to use science to explain about the current trends, what's real, what's made up. What do you really need to know about? What do you need to do? Because look, let's face it, we all need to improve our physical fitness, especially in our country of the United States. We have an obesity crisis. We have problems with our fitness. Let's try to fix it. Today's podcast is brought to you first and foremost by Jonathan and Lynn Gilden at the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They currently have over 275 star reviews. Let me tell you, they're hustlers. They work hard. They actually do their job. They've been doing this long before the real estate market got hot. They do it as a career. They didn't just jump in to make a little bit of money like so many agents did. They've been doing it for a long time, and I sincerely vouch for them. They can be reached at 386-451-2412. Okay, so in the intro, I stated what the method to the madness essentially is. And I created this podcast to educate mostly because there are just so many false things that revolve around health and fitness. And today is Monday, September 12th, and I vouch to you that this week I'm going to cover a lot of these things. I'm going to cover the different things that really just come up and make me shake my head. I mean, I love educating. I worked as a professor for a while along with owning my gym, and I miss it. I mean, it's great to actually do your research, use your experience, and get up and teach other people. I mean, to me, that's just great. You know, if you have a passion for whatever it is you're passionate about and you want to share it with people regardless of what it is, and you have a voice, I think you should use it. And that's what gave me the itch to do this podcast. I really wanted to cover those things because, you know, the more scientific we get now, and this is probably true in every realm, but I can't speak for that. I can definitely speak in my realm. And we've definitely become more scientific. I wouldn't say there's more we know. I don't think that's really true. I mean, you know, some of the latest discoveries, for example, in exercise physiology have been people trying to claim that was once thought gospel, that you can't convert muscle fibers back and forth, meaning that we have fast twitch muscle fiber and slow twitch muscle fiber. And it was always gospel that you have what you have. And the only ones that are trainable in the other direction are the type 2A muscle fibers. And I don't mean to like totally go down this road of science that I didn't give a very good explanation for what I'm even talking about. I'm just trying to give you a quick illustration. So now some of the research coming out is saying, well, that may not be true. Fast twitch muscle fibers may be able to be converted to slow twitch and back and forth. I mean, okay. That's not really earth-shattering, and you're not going to take that and change anything about anybody's training or their physical fitness. So I'd argue that's just a crap of shit, and it's probably going to come out to be that it's not true anyway, and there'll be further studies that say, no, we were right the first time. So we pretty much know what we know about physiology. So I'm not even going to sit here and say that we've learned more, but we become more scientifically frenzied in our society. So now so many bodybuilders and endurance athletes are jumping on the science bandwagon, and, you know, a little bit of knowledge, you know, kind of makes them think they know everything. And so there's been trainers and people like that have kind of spread some of the information out there. And it's not really making us better. I mean, I've got a scientific brain. I mean, I got a master's degree in exercise physiology. I still study science. I don't read people's opinions. I mean, I read them, but I don't trust them unless I see the research was a double-blind study of sorts and peer-reviewed, especially peer-reviewed. If it's not peer-reviewed, I'm not going to read it. I mean, if it's just some journalist talking about what he believes in science to be true, that's not peer-reviewed. I mean, so anyway, I definitely have a scientific brain, but I'm just saying that, a lot of this is just marketing. People are taking things that we've known for a very long time and they're acting like it's brand new, and then they're selling products. So I'm really going to cover a lot of the crap this week, but I'm going to start off this week very different than usual, because I'm going to talk about a scenario that happened with Ellen and I personally about like just the crap, that goes on in society, and then I'm going to try to find a way to blend it into fitness, or I'm just going to leave it as it is and let people make up their own minds. But so back in March, Ellen was backing out of parking spot at the gym in my truck, and the truck has this big old bicycle rack on the back. There you go, tied it into fitness. No, and it's hard to see, and the backup camera isn't as good as in our other car. Just the truth. But in any event, she literally grazed a vehicle that was parked over at the insurance agency, and she didn't even know she hit it. That's how lightly she tapped it. So she drove off to run her errand, and I saw it because I was sitting in my office window at the gym, and I'm looking out and doing the computer work, whatever I'm doing, and I'm like, I thought I heard something, and then I see it drive off, and I did see like a taillight on the ground, and it was from our truck actually. And I see this, pretty heavy set woman jump out of the passenger side of the car, looking around all frantic, and I'm like, oh shoot. So I called Ellen really quick on the phone. I said, hey, you ran into the vehicle. Get back here, And she thought I was kidding because, if you guys know us, our relationship, we prank each other quite a bit. Some real big ones actually. And, it was fun. But so she thought I was pranking her. She's, come on. And, I'm like, no, seriously. So she comes back and she parks the truck and she jumps out. She looks and she sees that our bumper was dented, or not even dented, because all these vehicles nowadays are made with plastic. So the plastic was broke, the taillight was broke, but the vehicle she hit was like this big old Suburban or something, like indestructible tank. And literally the only scratch on it was the red from our taillight, like had scratched off onto their bumper. So by this point I'd ran outside to tell them that she's coming right back, and she hit it so marginally that she really didn't know she hit it, and she'll be right back. So she comes back, and obviously, I think I don't remember. I either called the police or, no, I think they did. In any event, they were there. So Ellen pulls up, and the cop was already there, starting to look around and see what happened. I run up, I said, hey, she literally hit it so softly she didn't know she hit it. Cop had no problem with it. Like, he didn't ticket her for leaving the scene of an accident, because he was even like, well, yeah, clearly you probably didn't even know you hit him. It's so marginal. And he's looking at the person's truck like, oh, what's your problem? And so anyway, she was charged with backing into a vehicle or whatever, a minor ticket that's even less than a speeding ticket. And, that was pretty much the end of it. And, no, it wasn't. It was the end of it that day. And she was ticketed for backing into somebody in a parking lot. We gave them our Progressive insurance. I did because it's my vehicle. I think they exchanged numbers. The police wrote it up. He's out of there. Again, there's more damage to the truck, and I'm not faulting my truck. It's a Toyota Tacoma, and I love it. But most of these cars now are made for that. They're made for being replaced, and thank God, really, because I didn't want to use insurance for that. I'm like, this is marginal. So I took it to my buddy at Toyota, because I know the Toyota folks pretty well, and whatever, giving them a free plug, I guess, but I know the owner, and So I called him up and I said, hey, had a little fender bender, I want to fix it. I don't want to use insurance, so I'm just going to pay cash or, credit card, whatever. He's like, sure, bring it in. So brought it in, and it was, under $500, and it was just to replace the back tail light and the plastic bumper. And, everything's fairly expensive nowadays, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to waste insurance on that. And, it's kind of the matter. And Progressive, who's my insurance company, they actually handled things pretty good and kept me in the loop. So anyway, fast forward to Friday, and we get this letter from Farah and Farah. And, they're one of those, ambulance chasers in Orlando, kind of like all these other scumbags. And I've seen their commercials. It's like, oh God, these guys are the epitome of ambulance chasers. And sure enough, I open it up and I see Progressive's copied in, or actually Progressive sent it to me. They're just following up. And the lady who was hit, okay, and when I say hit, I mean like tapped, and she jumped up so quick and out, she's suing for $21,586. She's claiming $3,751 at Advent Health, $11,400 at an accident and injury, and some all injury diagnostic, maybe MRI, I don't know, $4,200. Zion Medical, $2,150. So as you guys know, we're in the health and fitness world, and I do a ton of rehabilitation. That's part of one of my jobs, right? And then it goes on to say, I'm reading this, literally this insurance report. Cervical spine MRI impression, C5, C6 posterior disc. Yeah, she's a dick, all right. Disc herniation. C6, C7 disc bulge. Lumbar spine impressions, high edema signal associated with L5 and L4. L4, L5 disc herniation. L5, S1 disc bulge impression on the thecal sac. She was recommended to have bilateral, Miss Gerton, look her up. I'm going to. Lisa Gerton was recommended bilateral cervical facet blocks at C3, C4, C4, C5, C5, C6. She was advised that she also sustained injuries to her head and neck, and she has now a permanent impairment rating of 6%. My God, what have we come to as a society? And so I called up Progressive. I mean, of course, first out of alarm, because I'm like, I noticed in the letter it said they're settling for $10,000. And so I called up, I said, I might do this. Well, first I wanted to get the idea of what really this letter was about. And I talked to the guy at Progressive, and he's been good the whole time. I had no complaints. I really have no complaints with this insurance deal at all. And that's going to be my final point today. And he said, yeah, unfortunately, this is what happens. No, you're not on the hook. That's what insurance for. We're covering it. You have up to $10,000 for bodily injury and accidents like this. And so we're covering it. And we're just going to pay it. And I said, hold on. The gentleman's name at Progressive is Tanner. Again, nice fellow. I said, Tanner, can't we fight it? And he kind of laughs. He's like, well, you're not on the hook. I said, I don't care. This is bullshit. This is insurance fraud at its finest. I work in rehabilitation. She didn't herniate anything. I mean, she did nothing. This is a total joke. And he says, Mr. Maxwell, I get it. We see this all the time. And they hit us for $10,000 because that was your limit. They initially started at $21,500, which is what they do. That way, when they take the limit, which is $10,000, it looks like they're settling for a bargain. This is just the way they play it. He says, now, at the minimum for us to fight this, we would have to pay $6,000 to our attorney at the minimum. And that's taking the risk that somehow, some way they don't send her in a neck brace, which we know they would because they do it all the time. And he went on to explain he goes to probably 2 court cases a week. And he said, so for the additional $4,000, extra, we'd rather just eat this one. And I'm like, but this is why insurance rates go up. He says, yeah, we know. And we try to explain that to people when they bitch and complain. He didn't use that word, I did. But he says there's just nothing we can do about it. It's a matter of, finance that we don't want to take the risk of taking a hit. And I said, I'll testify. I mean, I work in rehab. She didn't do anything. There's no freaking way. I was once an expert witness for a friend of mine in an accident where I had to, he was a cyclist, actually a runner too, and I had to use my science as an exercise physiologist to explain what happened to him as he crashed on his bike, and we won the case. I'm like, I'll do it again. I'll stand up there and prove there's no disc herniation. He's like, you're not on the hook. I said, I don't care. It's the right thing. This is wrong. People wonder why we have inflation, and we can use all these different reasons as to why, and there's probably, multifaceted reasons why, but this is part of the problem. People seeking $21,000 for sitting in a parking lot and getting plunked. I mean, what have people come to with their morals and their values? I mean, it's pretty disgusting. I got drilled one day in New York City in a rental car. I mean, I'm talking drilled. My daughter was with me, and some dude was texting. Obviously, I looked in my mirror. He wasn't looking at the wheel. He had his head down. I told my daughter, I said, hold on, buddy. Boom! Flying into us in the middle of New York City. I could have pulled a big one on that. What did I do? I felt worse for him. He was apologetic. He didn't speak very good English, and he's going on and on and on about da-da-da. I'm like, hey, look. I looked down, it's a rental car. I said, we're good, man. So we're already holding up traffic. Let's get out of here, No, damage was done. I mean, it was like a little scratch on my bumper, more on his. I'm like, just get out of here. I mean, I don't believe in something for nothing. I just don't believe in it. I believe karma will find you. I don't believe in something for nothing. And the way that people do this stuff today is disgusting. And I hear about it all the time. I see it on the news. I watch it on TV, and then I get the letter, and I'm like, this really happens? Like, this lazy piece of shit jumps out of her vehicle, and this is the first thing she thinks of is, let me call an attorney to make a quick 21 grand, which turned into 10 grand. It's disgusting. I mean, it's disgusting. And you know what, people? I have no way to really tie this into fitness other than what I said a second ago. Whatever shortcuts we're taking, we're going to pay back. Whatever shortcuts you're taking, you're going to pay back. And I don't care if you apply this to money, your health, your fitness, whatever. Whatever shortcuts you're taking, you are going to pay back. So you know what? Why don't you just pay on the front end? Just pay on the front end. Am I yelling at everybody? Yeah, people are lazy. Pay it on the front end. Do what you got to do. Be a good member of society. Do what you got to do. Pay it on the front end, and you won't have to pay anything back. People ever think of that? Do what you got to do. Do the right thing, and you won't have to pay things back. Really, it's that simple. Unfortunately, not everybody thinks that way. But we'll end on a happy note and thank our second sponsor. All right, the Istanbul Turkish Mediterranean Cuisine. They're located on Young Street in Ormond Beach, Florida. They have great vegetarian dishes. They have great salads, and they can be reached at istanbulflorida.com. Until next time, don't take shortcuts. That's what until next time. Peace out.